Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome everybody to Language Matters. Today we have two very special guests. Wayne Berlin, who is the head of localization at Dell and a co-author of the book that's making all the news, the Globalization Strategy Playbook. We just had an amazing event, panel discussion at Women in Localization, where titled Globalization Playbook Explained. And we also have Carrie Fisher, who is the head of localization at Subway and a board member of Women in Localization. The book is kind of getting the reputation of being the secret sauce of localization. So Wayne, tell us how the book came about. How did this amazing project happen?
Yeah, so, first of all, I think, we didn't set out to write a book. Our organization, the GILT Group, is a group of people who lead translation organizations across, different industries. And we really set out to write something for ourselves. We really set out to pull together some information around how we manage different strategies within our own companies. And as we were writing that book as we were writing that that document or putting that together, we realized that one, this was growing. It ended up being about 100 pages, so it wasn't a white paper, and we realized that there were a lot of people that could benefit from it. And how it's different is the books that you see out there, which there's not a lot of them, but the books that you see out there around translations are really about the why, why it's important to translate and what the value of doing that is. But we already get that, right? We're in the industry already. So for us, this is really from the perspective of practitioners, the ones who are leading translation teams within companies who are responsible for setting strategy. So it really talks to, the people who are in our industry already versus trying to explain what our industry is about to somebody else.
Carrie, my next question is to you. You have years of experience in localization. You have managed very many complex projects. You seem to know everything from A to Z. And why is the book so important? What did you find? What did you learn from the book?
I really liked it because it took on different personas and how different people might need the book in different ways. It really talk about, secret sauce. I'm in the restaurant industry, so this resonates with me. But it was a soup to nuts deep dive into the how of globalization, not the why, as Wayne said. And so that's why we at Women in Localization took a special interest in that. And that's why we did the panel in the first place. And by the way, just a brief note, the recording is available on womeninlocalization.org. You have to be a member to sign in. So if you haven't become a member, please do. It's free, it's easy, and you get to see the great recording that we did last week. It's fresh, it's new.
And the Women in Localization panel discussion about the book, it was a sold out event.
Yeah, I'll be totally honest. We have a Zoom limit of 300 people. We're a nonprofit, and we had 450 people sign up. So huge interest. Yeah.
Wayne, can you tell us more about the group that wrote the book?
Yeah, so we're part of the GILT Group, which is a globalization, internationalization, localization, translation group, which is, again, client side members within translation departments, typically leads of translation departments. And we had this strategic thinking task force, which was all about, we've got many different, kind of subgroups within the team, people that focus on metrics, for instance, focus on other elements of our industry. So this group was about, how do you think strategically about, the things that we do within our own companies, whether that's how you implement technology, or that's how you implement a language strategy, or how you implement your approach to how you're working with your stakeholders. So it's kind of where the Strategic Thinking Task Force name came from, and then that led, as I said earlier, into writing the book.
This book is a real game changer for our industry. So what's next? Will there be a part 2?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's a question that we continue as a group to struggle with. It's a lot of work writing this book. There's a lot of effort that goes into it. All of us have full-time jobs, very demanding jobs. So this was a pretty big effort from just a personal investment standpoint. And the book's not for sale; it's for free, right? So we're not expecting to make money out of it. So we're still thinking through, what it would do next. And this is the type of book. If you think about the textbooks that you had in college, you typically weren't looking at version 1, you're looking at version 11 or whatever the case may be, because things continue to change. Now, hopefully our book is not as dry as a college textbook, but the point is, this industry continues to evolve, and it would be impossible to kind of put everything, every possible scenario or thing you could run into this book, because all of our companies are different and all of our our teams are different, and the challenges that you face within each company is different. So, but I think, it lays the foundation of a strategy and a way of thinking to put you on the right path. So what are we going to do next? We have not committed to writing a revision. We might, let the community help us write some revisions. But there are certainly things that I think we as an industry are facing, and we particularly on the client side are facing, that would be interesting to talk about in the future. Things like inclusive language. That's become a really big deal now, and how you deal with inclusive language as you localize content. AI in the future of work. And tagging on to AI in the future of work, project management to program management. When you think about what our teams do internally historically, really a lot of our folks were order takers, right? But we really want to switch that to more of a program management approach, where you've got a seat at the table, where you're talking with your internal stakeholders about not what they want to translate into what languages, but what are their KPIs? What do they want to accomplish as an organization? Because that might lead to a different conversation about what languages they need to translate into, what quality expectations they need to have. So really having a seat at the table, I think, is really important as we evolve the value of what we as an industry can provide internally to our stakeholders and companies.
Carrie, so for someone who is in charge of a localization team or is part of a localization team, how do you get the most out of this amazing tool within your organization?
Right. And I failed to mention in the secret sauce, the things that really stood out to me, and Wayne just touched on them, were the collaboration, the teamwork, and the deadlines. Like you said, Wayne, there were so many people working on this that have full-time jobs, and yet everyone committed to put in the time to get this done. So I just wanted to mention that, because that is the one thing that probably impressed me the most, at bringing all these people with all this knowledge and experience, and bringing it into one place. But what I think people can learn from this, not only women, right, is it's a very easy reference to go to. You're not thumbing through a book, it's online, it's free. You can send it to other people within your organization, especially if you've got, internationalization engineers that maybe aren't familiar 100% with what they're supposed to be doing. It's a very easy reference and link that you can send someone to become more knowledgeable and, get the information they need to get their job done. That's what I love about it.
The full recording of the panel discussion is available on Women in Localization website. I have to ask, is it only for women?
We welcome anyone and everyone. So you don't have to be a woman to join Women in Localization. It's really, it's for everybody.
Good. And so can you be located anywhere in the world?
Anywhere in the world. And it's the global community team that put this together, because this is truly for everyone.
How many years of experience have been captured by this book, would you say?
Absolutely. It contains 15 people's worth of experience. How many years, Wayne? I remember that from the interview. There was
Yeah, it's 12 people, and it's 200 plus years of experience.
of experience in one place. You couldn't ask for more.
Thank you, Wayne, for writing the book and for being here today. And thank you for everybody who wrote the book together with you. Thank you, Carrie, for your time, for sharing your knowledge, and for hosting this panel discussion on women and localization. Invite everybody to download this free book, an amazing tool, The Secret Sauce to Localization Explained. See the link below. And please visit the great panel discussion that took place on women and localization. Thank you both, Wayne, Carrie, and we look forward to seeing all of our listeners at our next episode.